Is there an objective reality? Yes. I guess. Most likely. Does it make sense to apply this concept of objective reality to human connection, to communication, to interaction with other humans? No. In this video, I will explain how we can conceptualize objective reality, then introduce the subject of subjective reality. And then I will tell you, and I will try to explain why objective reality doesn't really belong to human connection. Hi, my name is Sven Pleger. I am a holistic performance psychologist, and my mission is to empower you with the knowledge and tools necessary to consistently achieve your goals. I love that you're taking time today to explore subjective and objective reality with me. So, what is an objective reality? Well, a reality that lots of people have looked at and they've said, well, it's objective, which means all of us agree that this is one reality and these are the features and we all share it. So it's all about consensus. If you take green, for example, the color green, people hopefully agree on what the color green means. It's not really as simple in interhuman relationships though. Because even with the color green, something very objective, it's not really that objective, really. Because how do we learn what the color green is? Well, experiences. We learn everything through experiences. So we see some things and someone might point at a light green and say, well, that's green. And in our mind, that color, green. Then there is another shade of green. It's like that color also green. Until we have collected lots of different greens, and depending on which greens we've collected and which greens we like the most, this green will be our typical green. So someone would ask you, pick the green pencil, and there's lots of green pencils. Well, first you might say, well, they're all green, but then if they would ask you, well, what's the most green pencil there? You would pick one. The one that represents green the most for you. So that is subjective, and different people will pick different pens. Because for some people, the typical green is darker. For some people, the typical green is lighter. All right? Depending on what we learned and what we have emotional connection to. Because if someone has a green bike or had a green bike, that will be the green they want. Maybe someone has a green house or a green door. Same thing. How about a football player? They are in contact with green a lot because they play on a green field. So for them, this might be the green. It becomes more difficult though, because when you ask someone what is green, what's the objective reality that gets portrayed, right? It's where they picture the color green inside of their mind. That's objective, right? If you ask two different people, they have the same color. No, they don't. Okay, so that's already breaking. But then also, it's not just the color green. If you ask someone about picturing the color green in their head, they don't just picture the color green, but there is also associations. Let's get back to the person who plays football. Well, that person connects the color green to football because that's when he or she sees green. The person with a green house. Well, green is obviously house. So maybe they will relax. Maybe they will have memories of their house. Maybe for some other people it's about green cards. Many different options. It becomes even more difficult when we talk about colors that are more ambivalent. Red, for example. For some people, red is danger. For some people, red is desire, excitement. So it really depends. Which means, if you ask someone, picture the color green, they will picture a green or a whole range of greens. And that's not going to be the same as the other person, if you ask another person. And then they will also have associations, and their mood will change. Maybe they will be excited, football. Maybe they will be relaxed, home. They will have different mental images, football field and a building. So all of a sudden you have very different realities inside of those people. And in the end, you can say, well, but I just asked them about picturing green. I did the exact same thing. They will both have to picture green, and they share this objective reality of it means the same for them. There is consensus about what this question did, what it means, what it entails. And the answer is no. If we talk about engineering, objective truth, sure. But then with humans, where interpretation is important, associations are important, feelings are important, it's not a good way to do things. So instead, subjective realities. How can we define that? Well, it's the state our body is in at any given time. That includes thoughts, bodily feelings, emotions. That includes blood pressure. That includes heartbeat, everything. And all of that is very different at any given time than someone else. Now, good communication is about creating a reality, a subjective reality inside the other person that sufficiently matches your own. So when we talk about the color green, that we talk about the same things. So maybe you need to limit this statement. Picture the color green, only the color green, right? Picture a field, a little rectangle. Picture it filled with this color. Everything else is black. Close your eyes, do that. Now you've narrowed it down. Because if you just ask people, picture the color green, maybe they picture a pencil, maybe they picture a house. You don't know. So reduce it. And this is a reiterating process, because you never really know, because you're not the other person, if what you said produces the same result inside of them compared to you. So maybe for them a rectangle is a small space. Maybe for you it's a big space. Is that important? Well, that depends. So it's about matching subjective realities. And they have to do the same whenever they answer with you. So you match subjective realities. And sometimes we try to do that. We try and produce understanding, right? I say something and then you respond in a way that makes me think, okay, you understood me. And then you respond. And then I react to that. And hopefully I react in a way that makes you think, well, he understood. So that's how basic communication works. And then at times, the opposite happens, which is way more noticeable. I say something, and you react in a way that doesn't match at all what I wanted. So maybe I was telling you about how I did this amazing hike the other day. And your reaction is disconnection, like, oh, whatever. That's maybe because you broke your leg, and now you're jealous. I didn't want to make you feel jealous. I just wanted to share my joy about having a nice experience. It didn't arrive. My reality, my subjective reality, with my intention. I did this hike, it was nice, I want to share this. Didn't arrive. Your reality was very different. Your reality was, I broke my leg, I feel terrible, I really want to do sports. He did a hike, beautiful. God damn it, why? Why now? Why do you tell me? It hurts. So we have very different realities. And you can say, well, intention matters, but then does it really? It's all about matching the realities, so you're both talking about the same thing. And then applying objective reality, which some people actually do, but I didn't say anything. I only told you about my hike, don't be so sensitive. Doesn't help at all. It doesn't help with matching the subjective realities. You're just invalidating the other's point because you believe that yours is the objective one. There is no such thing as an objective point of view And you can't have it because you are subjective. So someone else from the outside could maybe look at this and provide an objection, like an objective reality. But then that also doesn't really help. What for? The important piece is validating each other's points, understanding. And that is from both sides. So in the example from before, your reaction is, oh, whatever, anger, disconnection. That is my time to portray my subjective reality more and also validate yours. That's the two goals. You try and fix the disconnection by portraying your subjective reality more, but ideally you start with the first step, and that is validating the other's experience. You can connect it with your intention, sure, but validate their experience. And that is, I forgot that you had a broken leg, it must have felt terrible of me to talk about my hike, and then you can't really do that, you really want to do that, it must be terrible. I'm sorry, I didn't have the intention of hurting you this way. I really didn't. Validation of their part. And then trying to match realities more by refining yours. I didn't really want to make you jealous with this. Instead, I just wanted to share that I really enjoyed being outside. I was also blocked in my house. I worked the entire week, and then I was finally able to get outside and move a little bit. I wanted to share that feeling of relief with you. Not to make you jealous, but just because you're a good friend of mine and I care. And I wanted to share this. It was important to me. Beautiful. And then at that point, you have now validated the other's point, validated the other's subjective reality by talking about it. And you've talked about yours in more detail with the information that you now have, which is the reaction of the other person. And then you can continue. The other person can continue. Maybe talk about their point. Yeah, I wasn't really jealous, but it just hurt so much because I really want to do the same thing, and actually, I think I am jealous. Never mind. But yeah, obviously, I'm happy for you. It makes sense, right? And then you go back and forth. Maybe they do the exact same thing. Validate your side, refine their side, until you are close enough where validating the other person's side is something that you already did, nothing really changed, it matches. You no longer have this, oh, that's a weird reaction. I didn't want to create that. That wasn't my intention. You're at that point of understanding. And that's not a state that is permanent. It's just a temporary state. So you might need to refine it in the future. So that is objective reality versus subjective reality. Objective reality doesn't really make a lot of sense because you don't really share it. And in the end, it doesn't really affect us after all, because what affects us is our subjective reality. And I want to close this with a quote. And it goes like this. Everything is real in its consequences. Or everything you feel is real in its consequences. So it doesn't matter if objectively nothing was hurt, nothing was said to hurt you. If you still feel hurt by it, your blood pressure rises, your heart starts beating faster, maybe there's adrenaline, maybe all of a sudden it's harder for you to think, you feel anger, all of that. That is real, even if it's not objectively true. It doesn't matter to you. It is your reality in this moment. It doesn't matter how much you try and think about how it's not true. That's how you feel. And that's important. And it's important for the connection between humans. Because objective reality doesn't matter if it doesn't really apply to the other person. You want to connect to the other person. You want to connect to yourself. You do that with subjective realities. So I ask you, stop pointing fingers as much, because your reality is just different from theirs. That doesn't mean that yours is right and theirs is wrong. It's both just as valid. If you can't really bring yourself to be nice and empathize, don't worry about it. Just be okay with it. Don't talk as much, but don't attack them. Don't do the opposite. Don't invalidate their point. It's completely fine if you tell them, look, I don't really understand you. I care for you, I want you to be okay, but I don't understand what happened. And I don't have the time or resource, and I want to explore it deeper. I guess we're just disconnected. That's okay. Instead of trying to figure out who's right, who's wrong, match and push one objective reality that forces you to find someone who is guilty. And then you dissect the entire point, and then you're like, yeah, but you hurt me there, or you hurt me there. It doesn't go anywhere. It really doesn't. So, validate each other's points. Reflect your subjective reality better to find a matching reality for this moment in this conversation. And that's your way to better communication. Leave the objective reality. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, like it. If you like my content in general, subscribe. And do have a look at where you've trained yourself to be objective and where you want to push this onto other people. And try and just realize, it's about awareness, that there is no such thing that actually matters in this moment. What matters is their subjective reality and yours, and how it's different at times. Resolve that difference, and you will have a better time interacting with others. Thank you for watching.